Yeah, can I confirm that you can hear me? Can you hear my audio, please? You also see my slides. Can you see the screen? All right, good evening, good and beautiful evening, everyone. Welcome tonight to Ladies in Tech Africa Bootcamp. This is once again Kingsley, your anchor. And with me on the coach tonight, my co-facilitator is Nancy Baba Ali. We will definitely take you on a roller coaster ride on project management as usual. Yeah, good evening, Amotola. Good evening, Itunu, Neka, Esther, Oladipupo, Ajala, Day, Tola, Ruth, Mary. Good and beautiful evening. Wherever you are in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, you are welcome. Good evening. Right, Chinemeriam, good evening. And a whole lot. Yeah, Kenny, good evening. Ogoloa, good evening. Josephine, good evening. You are welcome to the program tonight. Okay, so it's another week, a new week once again. Can I confirm how was your weekend? I think we can start from there and then we'll delve into other activities for tonight. Tonight's class promises to be very, very interesting as we begin to wrap up project management and move into the next phase of why we are in this program. So, can I confirm how was your weekend? All right, let's take it there. Okay. Yes, Oladipupo, good evening. Thanks for extending greetings to Miss Nancy as well. Omodesola, good to have you back. It's been a while. Sophie AGK, you are most welcome. Okay, Florence Lovett, good evening. Oluwaseyin says, Mr. Kingsley, good evening. Good evening to you too. Good to have you here tonight. Okay, right. Chinemerem says, how weekend was great. Good. That's fine. Good to hear that. Okay, you're welcome. Idima Oha, good evening. Ononuju says, my weekend was restful. We got to close out our project and she had a long rest. That's cool. Ayodele says, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, good to have everyone here tonight. Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Yes, Chinamerim says, I hope you had a great weekend too. Yeah, I had a lot of running around in the FCT, very great time. I had a lot of programs to attend to. Trust me, project management took me round and round. A lot of activities I had to. In fact, I was involved in different projects, and it was very interesting. And I also had to close out some projects too over the weekend. Okay, I had some projects that started and now drawing to a close. Right. So that's quite interesting. That's quite good. It's quite nice. So Chinameram says, oh, well done. Yeah, that's good. So in trying to have a recap, I want to really congratulate all the teams that have turned in their um, projects. So we are reviewing all projects and you will definitely have feedback. Oh, Toyosi, good evening. You're welcome. Oluwaseun, good evening, and you're welcome. Ayodele says, at Eunice, my team lead for Group 5. Well done, you did well. Yeah, Eunice, that's quite some good commendation for you. Okay, so it's good to have you back, and it's good to be back on the coach tonight. I'm glad you had a wonderful session with Miss Nancy. Okay, I want to really say, um, okay, Omudasala, no problem. That's fine. You can always reach out. Okay. All right. So we are here tonight to talk about project management. I'm glad that we had a very wonderful weekend. So if your weekend was average, it was low, maybe low key, no problem, no worries. There's always another weekend, okay, to have. You can even start on a Friday and say, thank God it's Friday, and then you have a splendid weekend. So what I'm saying in essence is no matter what project you are involved in, try to have rest, okay, and find some time to chill out, okay, so you don't burn out, okay. So part of what we talk about in class is don't burn out, okay. All right, so Sylvia, you're welcome. Good to have you here tonight. Okay, so there's so much pleasantries tonight. So, and how was the last week's class with Miss Nancy, and what were your key takeaways? I think we can start from there. Okay, so let me hear from the class. Okay, all right. Yeah. Omodesolo says the class was great and short, and that she learned change management and the processes involved. She also learned the types which are anticipatory, reactive, strategic, and incremental changes. Yeah. So Changes are part of life. So change is inevitable. Okay, so we are having our recap. Okay, so we're not really going to dwell so long on the recap. Okay, but I will just do a little of recap. Okay, so we know for real or for sure that change is inevitable in life. Okay, so every project, howbeit how dynamic it is, there is every room to welcome the element of change. Okay, so it's very key to understand that change management is a process. Okay, and that process involves different other processes, like sub processes, if I may use that word. Okay, so it's very key to say that in project management there are times we should anticipate for changes. So sometimes the risk involved in the project forces the hand of change to come in, and some of the times there is also need to review like something. There could be unforeseen circumstances that would warrant a change process. Okay, so implement a change. It goes through a process. Okay, so last week we looked at the template, the change management templates. Okay, why the change? Okay, what necessitated the change, and what will be the effect of the change on the project? So some changes can affect overall then we have the anticipatory, which really looks at, like, for example, what if a team member resigns to a team member where that team member can no longer perform his or her delegated roles and responsibilities at a particular time, or for the duration of the project, or for that particular phase of the project. So someone else have to step in. Okay, and sometimes anything can happen. So it means that we must anticipate change. Okay, so we'll talk about different aspects of change. Okay, and it's very key. It's very key if we have that understanding. Okay, all right. So tonight we will be delving into something very key. So we'll be looking at the fifth phase of the project life cycle process. Okay. So can someone, okay, can we remind ourselves what are the five phases in the project life cycle? Can we recall what are the five life project life cycle that we have? So I think this was the very first few things that we learned in class. Yeah. Yeah, so looking forward to the chat box. Okay, Irene says planning. Okay. Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I go. Maro, you're welcome. Yeah, initiation. Okay, Joke says initiation. Irene says planning. Mabel, good evening. You're welcome. Right, Ogulua, yeah, that's quite cool. She says initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and control. Okay, so not monitoring and closure, please. Okay, monitoring and control, then project closure. Yeah, so, okay, all right. Hmm. Okay, all right. Esther says, good evening, everyone. You're welcome. Otoyosi says planning. Joke says monitoring and controlling. I think she's trying to make reference to Modasola's feedback. Okay. Akin Pelupi says initiation planning. Wow. You can call that monitoring and control, not project management. Okay. And then project closure. Okay. All right. Execution. Yeah. Execution. Very key. Okay. Peace. Yeah. Execution. Thank you, Esther, for that feedback. Okay. Shay says in, yeah, uppercase, initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and then closing. Okay, Okulu says it was a typo error, but noted. Yeah, quite agree with you. Okay. Jesu John says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Kingsley. Good evening from here, Jesu John. That's a big shout out to you. Okay. Just to welcome everyone to class. Bookie, you're welcome. Living Word with Taiwo. Hi, everyone. Tonight is really going to be quite interesting. And let's see how it goes. So, we will be delving into the final phase of the life cycle. Sophie, what's the time management for? I don't quite get it. So you may have to tell us why you're talking about time management. Is it part of the life cycle process in project management, or there was something else? Egofi says, thank you. So I learned while implementing changes, we have to empathize and understand those who find it hard to adapt to the change. Please, what are we discussing? We are just having a recap. Okay. So we talked about um, how weekend was, what we learned, the key takeaways from the last week's study, especially last Friday as well. And then um, we're trying to settle into tonight. I think you're not missing anything really. Okay, so let's take a delve into why we're here tonight. We are delving into project closure. So, what do you understand by project closure or project close out? Okay, I think we can call irrespective. What does that mean to you? What do you understand by project closure or project close? Yeah, in the chat box. Chidimeriam says it means sealing a deal. Hmm, sealing a deal? Not quite, but many blessings. Welcome. Yeah, she says that it's the final phase in project execution, verification of the project. Okay. Ayodele says that project closure is the project doing like a proper handing over document one needs to be and making sure that the project is actually successful. Zoe says that project closure to her rather, means completing project deliverables and evaluating how well the project was carried out. Uguna says, is it just me? I can't hear anything. Try to refresh, okay? Wow. Hello? Can I confirm if you can hear me? Can I confirm if you can hear me, please? While we continue definition on project closure. Okay. All right. She says, I think that, yeah, it says better now. Okay. Yeah. Naka says that project closure is the final phase of project management where all activities related to the project are completed. The project is formally concluded. Everything that has a beginning must have an end. Okay? Please respect yourself tonight because we are having a very interesting class and we don't want any interruptions. Okay? Morenike says that all the tasks that are related to documentation of lessons learned, ensuring that all the loose ends are being tied up, celebrating successes, and handing over to the project owner. Okay, so we have a whole lot understanding of what we are in tonight. Okay, so the project that took some time, that started at some point, automatically comes to a wonderful end. So every activity that leads or guides the project manager to successfully close out a project is what we term project closure. Okay, so let's recap one more time. The project process, we have the initiation phase where you prepare. Okay, with looking at project management. Okay, and then we talked about the project process or the project life cycle. Okay, the first you had the idea of what exactly you want to initiate, what you do. Okay, delved into. Thank you, Koya Motsuraya. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. Then the initiation phase, where you had the project charter, the project scope, the deliverables, and you also talked about the client, okay, and the stakeholders. You look at, and then we dealt where you develop as a project manager the project plan, the schedule, the resources, the risk, and the communication. And we have a phase where you have to execute, where there need to be results, there need to be reports, and you're also working with teams who knows the roles and responsibilities that were assigned at the project initiation phase. And then we talked about control, okay, monitoring and control, where we try to look at their delays, at the changes, how can we handle them, how can we take embark on corrective actions, okay? And then we're talking about closure tonight, where you have to sign off, close whatever has to do with your suppliers or clients or stakeholders, and prepare lessons learned documentation, and your final report. Okay, so it's yeah, so that's where we are tonight. Okay, so we delve into project closure right away. So why project closure? Okay, so the close phase of a project is just as important as the other phases of the project, just like we saw in the previous slide. It is actually the final phase of the project life cycle. I did define earlier, I said whatever had a beginning must have an end. So every project that started at some point must have an end. What does it entail? You have to ensure that all remaining tasks are completed. You have to formalize acceptance and then dissolve the project team. All right, so you have to thank everybody who were on that project and say, wow, you've done well. Okay, and it's time for us to conclude on this project and say our final bye byes. So, if you are working on a road project, for example, at some point when the project was commissioned, at the start where the project was awarded, the contract was awarded, it gets also to a point where the project will be commissioned. So for every project, there is a closure. So I'm sure that we quite agree with that. Okay. So we quite agree with that. Okay. So for every project, whatever you do, there must be a point in time where you would say your thanks. Okay, so why do we embark on project closure? Why is it necessary? It confirms that all the deliverables that were given by the project sponsor were met. Okay, and all the boxes were ticked from day one of the project to the final day. It also ensures what we call customer or stakeholder satisfaction. So all the stakeholders in the project are satisfied with the outcome, with the expected results. Okay, the results or the expected outcomes of the project was very satisfactory. So it may not be 100, it may be a 90% success rate, it may be an 85, maybe a 70, but not average per se. Okay. And then project closure also documents the lessons learned. So when we talk about lessons learned, we are referring to the knowledge and experience that we document from that. Okay, what are the things that happened? Were there challenges? What did we encounter while embarking on this project? Okay. So we observed XYZ. Okay, we observed that the building contractor kept posting us. Okay, because he's the one in charge of carrying out a particular phase, and they have dependencies where the next phase of the project we depend on the completion of that particular task. He delays it from 6 weeks to 10 weeks, and we just have to wait. Come on, why do we have to wait? That is the challenge. So we learned that the experts on this particular project, maybe he's just one person, and he feels that, yeah, because he knows it so well, we can do without him. Next time, we have to think about the bigger picture. What if he delays the project? What can we do? So there must be a project going forward. So if the project would be, if for example, there's a version 2 or a version 3 of that particular project, or there would still be some further engagements after this particular project. Maybe you're delivering tissue papers to a hotel, what type of tissue papers what were delivered. Was it 2-ply? Was it 3-ply? Was it 4-ply? What is the texture or the feel of the tissue papers? Were they adequate for the need? Did it meet the need of the users and things like that? So you need to document all lessons learned on this particular project. Okay. And it also guides us to know the type of resources we would release going forward, maybe further for another project or a similar kind of project. And then finally, it helps to evaluate the project success. So it sees to the continuous improvement and learning. So every project manager learns new things that occurs in a particular project. So I'm sure that no one wants like lighting to strike twice in a particular project or to ourselves involved in. It must take us from that point to a better point where we can say we have learned something. Okay, so Edo says is it on all projects that the deliverables is close to successful and close out as agreed. Hello, are we together? Yeah, if you are back, yeah, I'm back. So just need to confirm. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I just need to be sure that we are back. All right. Okay, thank you. All right. So we are talking about project closure. Um, to say that it's quite important to have to close out your project. It means that all the boxes have been ticked correctly. There are no issues. Okay, you have tried to resolve as much as possible all the issues inherent in the project, and then all the stakeholders are satisfied. Okay, and you've been able to document the lessons learned from the challenges encountered on the project and the way forward. Okay, and everyone is actually on the same page. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that we'll find in the closeout phase. Okay, but before that, okay, I think we should run through some of these things, and then we can come back, have a robust discussion. Okay, so that we don't break it in between, and then we get a clearer understanding, and then we discuss. I think that would be fine. Okay, so I'm just looking at how best we can rub our minds together, and then we conclude tonight. So, the first thing you have to do in the closeout phase is what we call formal acceptance by the sponsor or the client. So, are there any outstanding items? If there are, they need to be resolved. So, for example, the sponsor may say that there are four key deliverables in this project. Okay, let's say, for example, visits to the IDP camp. Okay, ensure that you visit the IDP camp. That's one, at a specified location. Number two, ensure also that palliatives are distributed. That's number two. And then number three, ensure that you receive feedback from the those in the IDP camps. Okay, what are you going to ask them? Just ask them. Find out generally how they feel on the palliative that was sent out and the visit. Okay, and what do they look forward to? Do they want to see us come again, or we shouldn't come next time? So now these four things the sponsor lists out as his key deliverable. Okay, now once you're able to tick all these boxes, yes, he can say, okay, there are no outstanding items. Okay, now was there a budget deficit or not? So so you just have to ensure that all the outstanding items are closed, and then there's what we call sign off documentation. So you need to ask for a sign off. That's what we call a formal acceptance throughout the project. So you can do it in batches at every phase of the project or the milestones that were set. Okay, you can say, okay, I have met this milestone. Can we sign this off? Okay, so we don't have to wait until the final day and say we now have to start ticking the boxes and signing off for each of those milestones that were met. So it's very important that at every phase or at every milestone achieved, have request for a sign off that we are done with this aspect of the project. So there's no need to come back to it again. Okay, and then you prepare your reports for that particular milestone. Okay, so it also saves you time. It gives you time to not to concentrate on the past. Okay, so as you keep moving, you're tracking your project and you're signing off based on what was actually achieved. Okay, All right. Can I confirm that you can hear me? If you can hear me in the chat box, please can you just type, yeah, that we are together. Yes, I need to be sure that we are together tonight. Okay. So you need to request for what we call a sign off. Okay, formal acceptance at every milestone achieved, because it's very important that we understand that. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, all right. Oluwaseyin says we are together. Thank you so much. I just need to confirm that. So we need to, from time. That's why you need to be systematic. You need to be strategic. You need to be diligent. You need to be meticulous. I mean, you need to bring your A game to project being a project manager. Okay, you don't want to have backlogs. That's why you need to request for sign-offs at every milestone that you achieve. I'm sure that's clear. That's very clear to us. Okay, and then the number two here, we have what it does for you is like I just explained. It helps you to remain on track, to keep check of what you're doing. Okay, just like where you have a checklist, and then it helps to keep all the stakeholders informed of whatever progress has been made on the project, and then it guides you when you're going off track. You need to, so it tells you, hey, are we still together on this project? The teams, everybody, I'm sure this project that we submitted as teams, there were things that we looked at, you know, extensively. And for you to make a submission, you know that yes, we have ticked all the boxes, necessary boxes, and I'm sure that we can now submit to our facilitators. And then it also makes it easier to get the final sign off at the end of the project. So if you are to have 5 sign offs for the entire duration of the project, you've had 4 of this sign off, and then it makes just for one more. So what it does is you don't have to start thinking, like when you say you need the 5 of them. Okay, and let's say the first sign off you're supposed to have done in 6 months ago. Now what does it tell you? You need to start cracking your head. And what if some of the team members are no longer on the project? How do you get that information? So you can see how needful sign offs are at each phase or each milestone that have been achieved. Okay. All right, then number 2, we have what we call support organizations. So you need to evaluate staff, ensure that the staff that work with you on the project, like the team members, okay, are there any outstandings? Are there, you need to evaluate their performance. You need to know what exactly the did, okay, did they do so well? Did they carry out their tasks effectively? And things like that. Then you need to budget reports. Okay, so the reports of the budget, most especially, you know that nobody jokes with money, funding. Okay, how, that's what we call accountability of work done and how well it was spent. So whatever resources that were used on the project must be completely resolved. You must table that such that, like, there are phases, there are some budgets that you need to budget for each phase and release funding for each phases as they come. So you need to ensure that everything is on point, on track, and there are no excuses. Some project managers can't just be funny. um, you can close out a project if you have not completed the budget. Okay, so we should have that at the back of our mind. Then there's something I added here we call close supplier contracts. Now, for example, are there contractors that supplied cement, those that supplied wood, are there those that supplied irons, whatever that you procured on this particular project, there should be no outstanding. Okay, all payments made, all the result, you evaluate whatever needs to be evaluated. Okay, you need to make payments, ensure that you're not owing anybody. Not when the project ends, someone will come and say, huh, that for that work we supplied, there was an outstanding of 10%, which is yet to be paid. I mean, it's really not going to be funny. It's not really going to sound so good. It will not tell well of you as a project manager. And then there should be a sign of documentation if you are into any procurement of any sort, or you're supplying, people supplied you resources, okay, apart from human resources, whatever else that were supplied, whatever resources that were supplied, there should be a documentation, okay? Monies collected by who, what is the unit, the quantity that was supplied, what date, when, what, for what purpose, received in good conditions. There are no stories. So it helps you avoid stories that touch the heart later. Okay, it gives you an understanding that, see, there is nothing that is left. Okay, and then the next thing is you now document the lessons learned. I did mention that in taking lessons learned, there should be some documentation when you have meetings. Okay, so when there are internal and external review meetings, you should be able to ask questions. You should be able to document whatever the issues were. So you need to be taking down notes from the beginning of the project. You need to identify variances from the original plan, okay, and what corrective actions were taken. So these will form lessons learned on the project. You also need to review risk management results. There was this particular XYZ issue. It was brought about by this particular risk. Was it a low risk? Was it a high risk? How did it affect our project performance? We bought floor that wasn't so nice. Okay, maybe we thought that it was the best. And for one reason or the other, maybe it was substandard, or it was not what exactly we expected to receive, and it spoiled the job for us. And what did we do? We had to discard that floor and go for another purchase at our own cost. You need to also categorize positive and negative results. So you don't just dwell on the positives, the areas you did so well. Also document the areas you did not do so well. So it gives a balance, it gives credence to the project. And I also mentioned document. Don't be verbal. Every project should not end in verbalism. Every project should have documentation from time to time. So don't say I will do it. Do it when you need to do it. Document when you need to document. There should be no excuses. So that's what we're talking about, lessons learned. So when you take up some project documents, towards the tail end of maybe the last 3, 4, 5 pages, you would see somewhere lessons learned and what we call future outcomes, or like recommendations for future work. So what it tells you is, if someone else is to pick up this documentation or your report, that person should be able to look at the holistic picture of that project. Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, and it will form a guide going forward. If I am to embark on the next phase or the next version of this project, what am I expected to do? So these are things that would help us on the project. And then next we talk about saying that you have to identify the lessons learned throughout the project at every team meeting, and not just at the end. I think I have mentioned that before, because it allows you to use the learnings in the current project. So whatever you're learning at each phase, or at each stage, or at each work package, remember to have your work breakdown structure. This is what you want to achieve at this point in time in the project. So for each phase of the project, but from the word go, there should be documentation. There should be documentation. It's either you're doing it yourself or you delegate. You have you have a sub, or like an assistant manager, you have team leaders, you have people who you put in charge of certain or specific activities, actions, or tasks. You must tell them. They must, as a matter of understanding, know that everything that happens of this project must be documented, not for purpose of slighting anyone, but for the purpose of documentation. So it's very key, it's very dynamic, it's very needful to understand that we must bring that into the project. And then we also have what we call celebrating the project closure. So we must take um, cognizance of the fact that celebration doesn't have to be expensive or a big party, but it can be just a pizza with a team. It can be a glass of something on a Friday afternoon, or someone brings in cakes and cookies. So it's a way of appreciating what people, teams on that project, the impact they've had working on this project for a while, just to say thank you for what they have done. Okay, so some may go to the extent of providing like an award or something else. Okay, just to um, help make people feel that they belong in that project. So it's very key. That understanding is very important. So for those, if you're just joining us tonight, we are actually talking about project closure. Okay, and what we need to do in project closure. We said that project closure have to do with just like you're rounding off, okay, with the project. Every box that needs to be ticked, every outstanding task have been resolved. There is no stone that is left unturned. And you're trying to ensure that everything is done. So you need to document, you need to take note the challenges, you need to see where did we get it right, where did we get it, where did we not do it so well, how can we make a better version of this project if we are given an opportunity to embark on that project the next time out. Okay, so and then we are now talking about celebrating the team. Okay, you can take them out, you can get them something, you can make them feel that sense of belonging. Now, why do we need to do this? Okay, because we want the team members to feel that the project has a clear end. Every team member would understand that this project has definitely come to an end. It also gives them a motivation to be stronger for the next project. That is, if there is any for that particular project or another project elsewhere. Okay. And it's a method or a way to get to celebrate our team. And then it allows people to move on psychologically. So it's very important. Then tonight, what is our key takeaway? We are actually bringing this program to a close, and we will be delving into another session that is going to just like a step up. Okay, so we have talked about for how many weeks? 9 good weeks. How to embark on a project, and every we divided the class into teams, and 90% of the teams have made their submissions and they are being reviewed. Okay, so we are also going to take key look at people who played key roles in the project, people who did not do anything at all, and this would form part of our evaluation. Okay, so um for me, I would just add here tonight that as a project manager, to be reckoned with as global best practice. Okay, you need to have a checklist for your project closure. Okay, now let's say, for example, you're preparing a meal for 250 guests. Okay, let's say maybe it's a Nigerian party jollof. Okay, so the first thing you need to ask yourself, um, yes, you have started initiation. Okay, you've done your submitted your quotation. The sponsor have released a particular funding, and then the next thing is which market. You now list all the ingredients that you need, Who do you need to be on with you on this particular cooking project to ensure that it is delivered right on time? And then you look at the venue. What does it matter? No, if it doesn't, okay. So you're now doing some brainstorming, you're checking, and then at the end, you ask yourself, did I meet up with 250? The quality of the packaging, is it okay? So you need to tick packaging, okay. Where you're transporting to, did you transport? Yes. Was there complaints? What did it, so you need to check all the boxes. So you must have a checklist for yourself to be sure that once you tick all the boxes in that checklist, you are satisfied that you have done your part in ensuring that the project is delivered. And then document all the lessons learned. Remember, we talked about the lessons learned are the the knowledge garnered on this project, the issues faced or encountered, and what was done to resolve these issues, and then the way forward. And then what's what we call, I also choose to call post implementation review. I call it PIR most of the time. Why post implementation review? Now that the project has ended, what is your view of the project? You can receive feedback, maybe from different stakeholders. Okay, so that review will now lead you to what we call a project evaluation report. So what is your conclusion about this particular project? What did you what are the key takeaways? Yeah, let me put it that way. The takeaways from this particular project, did you think it was well? Do you think that so were there limitations? Were the risk involved? Were you able to? Were there any change management processes that were involved, and things like that? So you now document everything. So for some projects, those who are working like in NGOs, as what we call inception report. Okay, we have progress report, and then we have what we call final report. Okay, then if you're just like an entrepreneur, uh, business, you don't really have much like per se an issue, uh, you can also choose to document. Okay, so the key takeaway from tonight is that you have to document from day one. Whatever you're doing on the project should be documented. It's not about you, it's beyond you. Okay, so it helps you to come up with something to look back, okay, something to also hand over to the sponsor. If, for example, the sponsors are saying that there should be a report, okay, so if there would be, if you're requested to write a report at the end, or maybe series of report like inception, at the start of the project, progress report while the project is ongoing, you document different phases of the project, and then we also have the final report. So these are things that would guide us going forward. When we return after the break, we will just discuss and then round off this particular class, and then look forward to the next phase of this particular class. Once again, you are welcome tonight, and I hope you have a short break and make it nice, and see you when we return. Remember that your attendance is necessary. Just try and tick that, okay? All right, see you in the second half of the class tonight. Hello, welcome back. Hope the break was cool. Can I confirm that we are back and ready for the next half of tonight's class? Can I confirm that we are ready? All right, so with this, we come to the end of talking about the 5 stages of the project life cycle. Okay, now it also gives us an advantage. Okay, right. So let's take some interactive questions. Okay, while we review your slides, your submissions. Okay, so let's take the next. Let's say we'll end the class in the next 15 minutes if there are questions. Okay, so you can ask your questions, whatever question you have. Okay, so we've talked about project closure, what you need to do. So if you're having challenges in any project you are involved in at the moment, you want to talk about it, I'm here. So I'll be engaging you in the chat box. Okay, so yeah, expecting your questions and feedback. Okay, so let's talk about it. Any questions, issues, challenges from tonight's class? Where I'm here. So, do we have any questions so far? So, please also to remind participants that week 8 quiz is presently on the LMS. Okay, so if you skipped it or for one issues or the other you had not, so please you can slide into your LMS and then check up on that. So there is quiz 8, week 8 quiz, okay, right, which is on project monitoring and control. Okay, so all right, please don't forget about it. Okay, Akipelu Peace is asking if tonight is our last class. No, not definitely, definitely not. Okay, so we still have a few things we will talk about. Okay, so we'll still take a look at some project management methodologies, okay, just to review what we have talked about in the early times, like we still have to talk about agile project management. We still have to talk about leadership, okay, using the right ethics as a project manager. You also still have to talk about your professional responsibility as a project manager. So there are still a few things. Um, yes, definitely. The slides you are going to get, you can always watch them on the YouTube videos. Okay. Mm. Mary Jayasimi says she's currently working as a project manager in a tech company, and her challenge is realizing that project management knowledge isn't enough. There is need to have an understanding of the tech to excel. Okay, so what I would tell you is this. Okay, there's no knowledge that is enough for learning. Okay, anywhere you find yourself as a project manager, or even you're not a project manager, but you are managing, like you're seen like handling or being involved in certain aspects. Okay, what you need to do is you also have to read. Okay, you need to know more, a little bit more about what makes you a well-rounded person. Have a little bit of this and that in the organization. Know what exactly the organization does. Know its objectives at your fingertips. Okay, like today, the world we have now, the world is like a technology village. Okay, so project management is more or less about bringing in experiences. Okay, trying to understand principles, procedures, processes on how to bring out the best in the people that you're managing and the resources that are put under your control. Okay, so it gives you like a robust kind of knowledge. Okay, robust kind of knowledge. Okay, all right. Yes, so you need to delve into, I don't know exactly what aspect of technology, but or tech that you need. Like let's say you work in an organization that does branding, you have to design, you may not be the one designing. You may not be the one maybe there are graphics that need to be handled. So maybe they're preparing apps as well. You may not be preparing the apps, but what you need to do is you need to have an understanding. What do these people doing graphics, what do they do? What is graphics like about? What kind of quality expectation? So there should be some, is there a quality assurance manager, or this have to be certified? You need to be the one checking up on this. So what is the minimum acceptable standard? So you must have a minimum amount of knowledge to be able to work with them. Okay, engage them, find out what they do in a very polite and yet uncompromising manner. Okay, so Taiwood says I should please explain project management methodologies: agile, waterfall, hybrid. How do one operationalize it? So in the next class, okay, the next class we'll talk about some of these methodologies, especially agile. Okay, we will talk about it. Okay, so I want you to um, look forward to that class. Okay, yeah, Lois, thank you so much. You've just summarized it. Okay, see, what a project manager does is like he is just like a guide. You know, when you have like the role of the father in the family. Okay, the father doesn't boss everybody. Okay, you don't boss people. You lead and show them how to behave, how to act responsibly with the different responsibilities that have been committed into their hands. So that is what exactly you are doing as a project manager. You are harnessing the beauty of workspace or work environment of different people working in that organization to meet organizational set objectives. Okay, so you need to understand what exactly the basics. Okay, so if you have an understanding of these things we've talked about in the 9 weeks now, you will discover that it will make you a better person. Okay, so I think that's quite an interesting question. I like that. Yeah. So how has the last 9 weeks been for you? How has it been? How has the last 9 weeks been for you? So we would not have a class on Saturday because we have covered, um, we've covered most of what we need to do for this particular week. So in the next class, we would look at, we'll just take a step into next week's class. And maybe before that, we take some questions if there are any. So if you have questions, maybe you can post them on the Telegram group, okay? Or you can send a direct message on the LMS, okay? If you need any of the facilitators, we can, myself and Nancy, we can respond, okay? So on the person who asked, on the participant who asked the question on when do we call it? Like the methodologies. We did that. We did that right in I think the first week. Yes, we talked about some of these methodologies. Okay, so and it really helped. Okay, it really helped us. Okay, so if it says the past 9 weeks has been extremely engaging. Yeah, Amotolo says it's been an eye opener. Okay, Jesu Jones says it's been crazy. She's been juggling between her MSc program and this. I'm sure you're doing well. I know it's not easy, but you are really putting a lot of effort. Olukoye is requesting for the scheme of work or for the project manager. And when are we going to start using app? What an app really, Olukoye? I need to understand. Are we going to be taught how to navigate our project management skills through the use of the tools like MS Project and Primavera? Okay. I think also in one of our classes, I think Miss Nancy did do some great work on that. Okay. But if there is a way we can, what I would say is um, the best way to use any of these tools is, of course, you have to try it out yourself and then check up on YouTube. And there are a whole lot of videos how to use, once you just Google it and just say how to use MS Project. It's quite easy. Okay. It's just like a Gantt chart. Okay. So once you just Google and say how to use um, um, MS Project or Primavera, it's you would, in fact, it would pop up. So you don't really need tutors to do that. Okay, so it will help you. It can be like do it yourself kind of thing. Okay, DIY, right? Okay. Zoe says, "Oh, Lois, thank you." Lois, she says that the past 9 weeks have been educative and impactful, thanks to me and to Nancy. Thank you to Lois for being here. Without you, we would not be here. Okay. So Zoe says that the 9 weeks have been very eye-opening for her. She's always had an idea of what PM is about, but she never really knew this in depth. Now I know the depth. I'm ready to put everything to practice. Sylvia says it's been a long and worthy ride. She also enjoyed every bit of it, although there were days where she wasn't feeling it, but she's very grateful for the opportunity. I can tell you, frankly, you are, I mean, it's been an amazing, your feedback is really amazing. Okay. And I'm sure it will come up strong for you. Okay. Ogoluwa says, thank you, Mr. Kingsley. Ogoluwa, right. Just like I told um, Lois, I really appreciate you for being here, without which we would not be here. Okay. And thank you also to Ladies in Tech Africa. Lita have really done so much to bring in these projects, close to our doorsteps. Okay. Jenny says, frankly, for her, every part that has to do with charts, drafts, or graphs have been challenging for her. But she knows this doesn't sound professional. Not really. You're just being yourself, Jenny. I really appreciate you for being that. Okay. But the truth is this: until you're faced with a challenge, you may not really know how to resolve it. Okay. Anything you still don't get, don't stop at learning. Tries to still make an extra effort. We always here. We'll still support you with some kind of um, training, understanding. Okay. So feel free to just tell us where exactly you're having challenges, maybe on the Telegram, or you can always send an LMS message. I will definitely respond. Okay. So I think that would be fine. Okay. So I can still do just some. Of course, we can go back to explaining Gantt charts right here once again, because it will not be ideal to do that. Okay. So many says that this is the first online class she started and finished without regrets. Wow, I'm impressed. Miss Nancy, I'm sure you can hear this, and I think you can say that I can say that you've done so well, Miss Nancy. You have really tutored these. It's been wow. It's been amazing. So really, thank you. I must really say thank you to every one of us. So um, please, this is not the last class, okay? Also, remember that the quizzes will come up, okay, after this class. Between today and tomorrow, please try and take your quizzes, okay? Try and review all you have done so far, because the next phase of what we will be teaching you, we're not going back really to talking about the life cycle, project life cycle anymore, okay? So Emoji says, okay, Sylvia is really appreciating Lita. She says thank you to the team, thank you to our tutors as well. Sylvia, thank you as well for being here. Okay, so the past 9 weeks have been educating. Okay, very good, thank you so much. Wow. Kemi says, especially a field she didn't have knowledge about previously. Jenny says that she admits that the facilitators are and have been awesome in dissemination. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. Thank you. Akimpelu, thank you for your kind words. It's really encouraging. It's motivating. Okay. So Anita says it's been quite impactful and enlightening. God bless you and Miss Nancy. You great facilitators. Mercy Nancy says she's visited other classes on later, but you and Nancy are exceptional. Thank you, Mercy. Ugonna says it's been an amazing journey. It has helped her do things that she didn't know she could. It's also been enlightening. Thank you to our facilitators. Thank you, Gunnar. Without you as well, this would not have been interesting. You also motivate me to bring out the best that we can always be as your facilitators. Zoe says that it's been an amazing journey. Okay, so the only online course that she has started and will finish. She says she lose interest in things very quickly. Thank you, Lita. Thank you, Miss Nancy. Thank you, Mr. Kingsley. Thank you, behind the scenes teams. Wow. In fact, they are getting your feedback. Thank you. They have been behind the scenes making sure that this is great. Many say she just landed her first project job for a Christmas concert. Wow, that's great. In fact, Nancy would be glad to hear this. And we would be looking forward to seeing how you get started on this. And trust me, using the experience you have here, it will help. Well, Kemi says, please check and answer my questions. It's really important to me. Please, can you just ask that once again so that I can see it right up? Okay. A lot of messages are scrolling up and here and there, so I'm not able to get to read all of them. So I'm missing some of the messages. Okay. Oh, really? Oh, many. We would miss you too. But guess what? We are still with you. Okay. So the project has not ended. Okay, we just talked about project closure tonight. Okay, so who is still in here. Victoria says, this came in on point for me. Thank you so much, sponsors, organizers, teachers, and God bless you all. This made my year, really. Thank you so much. Oh, Mother Sola says that her national grid has collapsed. Her battery is low and Jen isn't working. I have to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. So we would call it a day tonight. But let me just take one or two more messages on the chat box. She says, 9 weeks is not a joke. That's Douglas. She said at some point she was thinking of backing out, but something kept her going. Thank you, Lita. Thank you, Mr. Kingsley. Thank you, Miss Nancy. Though she thinks that there still needs to be some review on some topics. Okay, Sophie is expressing gratitude to Lita. Morenica is also expressing thanks to facilitators. God bless you all. I want to just say here that this is just the beginning of a journey. Okay. Remember, anytime you remember what I said, treat every project as an entity in itself. Never forget that. Whatever you're doing, don't forget, every project should be given the attention that it deserves. So we'll be ending tonight's class here. Okay. I want to especially appreciate Lita, appreciate the facilitators, Michael F, that's Miss Nancy Baba Ali, the behind the scene people, the community manager, everybody who has made this project very possible. So from the next class, we would be delving into some more of professionalism, okay, and giving you some ideas how best you can navigate the world of project management. And then at some point, we would also talk about, there are people who, participants who have asked questions about the PMP or the next level. We would talk to you about some of these things and how you can navigate them. Okay. And thank you, Olayemi. Your words is really touching. Thank you for signing up and enjoying every bit of this class. Wow, Temilade says she never knew it would be this long. Thank you for everyone. And I want to say to you, keep smiling, keep winning, and keep seeing project management as something that is part of your life. Okay? It's not something that you should forget. Okay? Why not? Yes, you can. Ayodele, yes, you can. Do not limit yourself. Okay? Do not limit yourself. Remember, there's no small project, there's no big project. Every project has a beginning. Okay? How you go about it matters a whole lot. All right, on behalf of myself and Miss Nancy Baba Ali, this is Kingsley signing out tonight. Okay, on behalf of Ladies in Tech Africa Bootcamp, see you once again on Wednesday. Remember, there would be no class on Saturday. Okay, so you can have some rest. Okay, we'll just talk a little about next week's class on Wednesday. Okay, and then take your quizzes and be the best you can be. Thank you once again and see you on Wednesday. Bye bye. What's up? Come on, finally. The Lord